Welcome to your hospitality, health and safety induction. The type of work that we undertake means that thinking about your own health and safety and the health and safety of others must be a priority whilst you're visiting or working on our site. As a new employee, contractor or visitor to our site, we want to provide you with an overview of the main health and safety arrangements that are in place to ensure that you can carry out your work or visit without coming to harm. We all have a role to play in looking after both ourselves and other site users whilst in the workplace environment. Let's take a look at some of the main health and safety risks that you need to be aware of when on site. Slips, trips and falls. Spillages should be cleaned immediately with slip hazard signage used where appropriate. Special care must be taken when serving or using hot food or beverages and plates. Take action and remove slip or trip hazards proactively if and when you see them, if it's safe to do so. Access and egress. Make sure entrances and exits are not obstructed at any time unless arranged work is taking place. Only authorised employees can receive deliveries and high-vis must be worn with safe working procedures followed. Manual handling. Manual handling should be minimised where possible with the use of hand or sack trucks. Use a two-person lift where necessary when handling large or awkward objects, for example chairs or tables. Report any issues of pain or discomfort, including anything that results from an existing injury. The use of kegs, pressurised gas and associated equipment should only be carried out by those who are trained, experienced and competent in performing the tasks safely. Food hygiene. Food grade gloves and regular hand washing are to be used where appropriate to prevent contamination. Only suitably qualified and trained personnel are permitted to manage the preparation and cooking of food for customers on the premises. Allergen information is to be provided for all foodstuffs served for customers and employees. The use of knives. Only authorised staff should use and sharpen knives. Knives must be stored securely and safely after use by those authorised to use them. Please follow the Using Knives Safely Guide to reduce the risk of harm. Skin health and dermatitis. Minimise direct skin contact with cleaning products, food and water. Some things you can do to help include using hand protection cream or mousse where possible, and using dishwasher or mechanical equipment instead of hand washing. Kitchen equipment. There is a range of specialist equipment in the kitchen and food preparation areas. Only use equipment that you're trained and authorised to use. Remember, burns and scalds are commonplace in this environment. Please stay aware of hot surfaces, liquids and steam, the use of oven or gauntlet gloves for hot applications and protective gloves for cold applications may be required to minimise the risk of hot or cold burns. Handling glass and bottles. Dealing with broken glass is a common requirement in this environment. Take care when handling glassware and dishware, and make sure to follow the Handling Glass Safely Guide developed to reduce the risk of cuts and lacerations in the event of a breakage. The opening of pressurised bottles is only to be carried out by trained and experienced staff who are aware of the risks and can carry out the task safely. Safety devices. Devices that are critical to ensure your safety may be integrated into equipment or other site infrastructure. This includes features such as interlock devices. These must never be tampered with, and any defect should be reported to your line manager immediately. Risk assessment. Control measures are in place to manage and mitigate the risk of harm to operators and others who may be affected by the activities. All work carried out on site must be covered by a suitable and sufficient risk assessment and method statement or equivalent. All contractors are required to provide signed copies of task-specific risk assessments prior to commencing work. Everyone has a responsibility to ensure that health and safety guidance and procedures are followed during the course of your work or visit to our site. Information, instruction and training. To be involved in any specific work activities on the site, you must be sufficiently competent, trained and have been instructed on any relevant risk assessments and safe working procedures before being authorised to complete the work or activity. Task or area specific training may include information on the use of personal protective equipment or PPE, which may include items such as high-vis clothing, safety footwear and gloves, eye, hearing and respiratory protection. Make sure that you're issued with the correct PPE for the job or area that you're working in. Accident, incident and near-miss reporting. All accidents, incidents and near misses are to be reported to your manager or supervisor immediately. It is important that this is done in a timely manner to allow management to implement both containment controls and to initiate investigation protocols where necessary. If an adverse or unplanned event occurs that had the potential to cause harm, it may be classed as a near miss, and it should be reported in the same way for further investigation. First aiders. Personnel on site have been trained in first aid or will be designated as the first aid appointed person. The relevant people will be communicated to you via your induction and or via communication boards on site. Get to know who your first aiders are so that you are aware of who to contact in the event of a first aid emergency. Fire and evacuation. Fire and emergency equipment is placed visibly around the site, including call points to raise the alarm in the event of a fire, fire extinguishing equipment, and emergency exit and evacuation signage, including your muster point. Fire wardens are designated to assist in the event of an evacuation, and any firefighting equipment must be used only in accordance with company policy. Specific fire and evacuation policies for the premises, including the location of your fire muster point, will be communicated to you during your induction. Smoking. Smoking and vaping is only permitted in designated areas, and some sites are non-smoking. If you're affected by the smoking rules, please ask your induction facilitator for further specific information for this site. Waste management. All materials must be disposed of in a safe and environmentally responsible manner. Make sure to follow site safety and environmental protocols when handling and storing waste for removal on site. Copies of waste transfer notes are required to be retained for all waste that is removed from site. If you would like to highlight a possible safety or environmental hazard that you spot on site, or you're unsure about something related to the health and safety of yourself or others, please report the issue immediately to your line manager, host, or the on-site health and safety representative. Thank you for paying attention to this brief health and safety induction. Let's work together to build a safe and successful future for everyone. Thanks a million for watching our health and safety induction video here. If you find this useful and would like to use it for your team or employees, you can access the full version over at safety.com, completely free of course, and this includes a knowledge test and completion certificate when successful that helps you to make sure those being inducted have grasped the basic health and safety principles being communicated. We'll leave a link in the description for you to go ahead and use that useful free resource.